things. What a 180.
Oh my God, everyone! After the Halloween season, we are back with you, the Sons of Serizawa podcast. David Joshua Hernandez, a.k.a. Gorzard, has emerged from the grimy depths of Las Vegas to join us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was having flashbacks of Nam.
Well, I'm glad you were able to reconcile that before we could start. Dylan McCandless, Super DM64, also erupting from the Deep South to join us.
Hey, man, we're about to record a podcast. You want to listen?
They don't have much of a choice now. Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir, holding them all at gunpoint to make sure they stay.
It's cold, and as a Californian, I'm still not used to it here in Japan.
I thought you were talking about a gun.
Oh, that's right. The biome in Japan is much closer to like what I have, so it's interesting to have you reacting to the kind of weather I've grown up with.
Yeah, I see people walking around still wearing like shorts and dresses. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Dresses. You should wear a dress. I think it'd be warmer and more comfortable. And we can talk about it on the podcast, how it emotionally affects you.
How about we don't and say we did?
Can we still say we did?
Be...
I mean, that's all I care about because it's an audio medium, so just saying it is just all we need.
Can I do that with the tag video?
Yes, you can wear a dress, definitely.
No.
Andres.
You can wear a dress while recording the tag video. Oh no, don't give
Andres,
the starfish ideas.
But then you could capture footage of yourself.
I mean, I'm already going to call this episode David in a Dress. That's done.
But then you could capture video of yourself running around in the dress, and then we could dub in the fucking Princess Kenny music from South Park. It'd be great.
And we can put it up online as like evidence of the missing link.
Between what? I'm so afraid to ask.
Man and pig. Oh, he's going BRB. He got really offended by that. That's sad.
The missing link between fucking Bruce and Caitlin.
Man and bacon. All right, well, David's off in a corner crying. Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir, is going to may or may not make us care about shit.
Okay. Well, let's see. Do you care about comic books, Bill?
Occasionally.
Do you care about high-profile comic book writers?
Occasionally.
Oh God!
Well,
did one touch some people?
Oh God!
We're gonna steer clear of that.
Thank you.
Oh boy! So this is gonna be about a piece of news that came out like a week or two ago. November 8th, in early November 8th, 2017, it was reported that Brian Michael Bendis, the dude who has been writing for Marvel Comics since 2000, will be switching over to the dark side, or at least through the eyes of Marvel fans, as he will sign an exclusive contract to write for DC Comics. DC made an announcement stating, "We are beyond thrilled to welcome Brian Michael Bendis exclusively to the DC family with a multi-year, multifaceted deal. He's one of the premier writers in the industry, having created so many unforgettable stories wherever he's been, and we can't wait to see what he has planned for the DC universe." Brian Michael Bendis also wrote, "This is real. I love you all. Change is good. Change is healthy. I am bursting with ideas and inspirations. Details to come. Stay tuned."
Well, I hope he doesn't explode. I mean, that would be tragic before we get to see what he does with the DC characters. That is certainly exciting. I mean, Bendis at DC is not something that I've ever seen before. He's the ultimate Spider-Man guy, so that's what I mainly know him for.
Oh,
and that's
me too. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite things. So,
absolutely, I loved reading Ultimate Spider-Man way back when.
So this is going to be interesting. I wonder what he's going to be writing.
Yeah, wasn't the last thing he was writing the Riri Williams Iron Man?
I don't know.
I thought he created that character, but I don't know. So it's kind of interesting that he decided to leave Marvel, so I can only wonder
He's been there for a long time.
Maybe
he created the Ultimate Universe, essentially, because he created Ultimate Spider-Man. He was one of the people who kicked it from the ground up, so, you know.
Then he also wrote the... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that was fucking a million years ago. Like, I was surprised to hear that he's still writing. Like...
Right. Well, no, I mean, he's been consistently writing Ultimate Spider-Man until a few years ago.
That point they changed it. Yeah, at that point they... Go ahead.
I didn't even know that Ultimate Spider-Man was still a thing that was happening until
I mean,
recently.
it was Miles Morales. I mean, that's what that was. So.
And they changed the title, right, from Ultimate Spider-Man to just simply Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. Yeah. And what was it? And didn't he also wrote Sam and Twitch?
Yes, he did. So there's another thing. So I'm echoing somebody's microphone.
See, changing the name from Ultimate Spider-Man to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man somehow makes it more pretentious of a title. I don't know. I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, because then it's referring to the entire medium in which they're making it. Like they are the ultimate of that medium.
Like that was the one thing about the Ultimates universe, like the fucking title. I was always like, oh, all right, well you're talking a big game.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked that name because it was the late '90s and that's what it was in their hearts. Ultimate, Extreme, all that kind of stuff.
Even though this was
I hope he's going to be writing. I hope he's going to be writing something weird like Swamp Thing. That would be awesome. Brian Michael Bendis' Swamp Thing would be great. Gotham Central.
I'd like
or imagine he just does Ultimate Spider-Man, but with the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle.
All right, Teen Titans would be good for him.
Yeah, definitely. He knows how to write teenagers.
No, man, he's got to get on that Booster Gold.
That would, I'm sure they haven't done. There is no Booster Gold comic right now. I love that character though. Green Arrow would be great for Brian Michael Bendis. I'd love to see Brian Michael Bendis on Green Arrow.
He should do like an entire like ongoing series all about Mr. Mixie.
Yeah. Get him on some Superman. That'd be awesome.
Give us the ultimate Mr. Mixie.
I mean,
what does he do when he's not annoying Superman? Well, what is his day-to-day?
Trying to fuck his wife. Like that's. Didn't you watch the series?
Well, then that's what I want to see in the comic.
All right. There's been a lot of that at DC lately. A lot of fucking.
Just a whole lot of trying to fuck his wife and just unsuccessfully.
He did a two-issue run of Ultimate Spider-Man where Spider-Man and Wolverine switched bodies, and that was like...
I remember that.
And he held the artist at gunpoint to make him do it. And that was great. So I'd like to see something like that done with Mr. Mxyzptlk. That would be cool.
And they seem to imply that Wolverine and Peter Parker's body attempted to have sex with Mary Jane.
Well, yeah, Wolverine put the moves on Mary Jane in Peter Parker's body, and he touched her in a weird way, so...
Yeah.
It was definitely a little ambiguous. Wolverine's kind of a cockstain in the Ultimate Universe. Everybody in the Ultimate Universe is kind of a cockstain.
When you get to a certain age like Wolverine is, it doesn't matter who you try to fuck. It's always going to be creepy. So you just kind of roll with it, I think, at that point.
Like you said,
you're right. He is several hundred years old, I guess.
Body, so he didn't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm. You just got to turn into the skid, you know what I mean?
All right, so that's pretty much all that's left for Brian Michael Bendis. Very popular writer, now going over to the other side.
I might read what he does at DC, which will be more than what I can say for a lot of their books going on right now. And that's not a slight against them. I don't keep up with comics right now. I will get there eventually.
It does make me wonder what's going to happen to Marvel. Like, who?
I mean, they've got a million other people. They've got a million other people over there right now. So
yeah, so I wonder if this looks
is just
bad
one of their
for Marvel
older
themselves.
I mean, at this point, Marvel
is more.
Yeah, who knows?
At this point, Marvel is more movie company than comic company.
Yeah.
It's kind of true, yeah. But the thing is, like, recently, I know, like, they've been going through financial issues because they've been just putting out so much content out there that they don't even give a proper amount of spotlight for each comic, causing their own comics to compete against each other for sales.
Yeah, they've been overselling a lot for sure. So, who knows?
Yeah. Like, anyways, moving on into movie news. Do you care about the Universal Studios Dark Universe, guys?
Considering I haven't seen the first entry yet, you tell me.
I kind of sort of care.
Obviously, no one did because.
Right. Well, the kind of like the what do you call it? The major producers of the Dark Universe, Alex Kurtzman and Chris Morgan, have officially jumped ship. They, even though Alex Kurtzman and Chris Morgan were hired by Universal to craft the overarching story for the Dark Universe, they have decided to just leave this entire project behind, leaving the Dark Universe with no Joss Whedon to call of their own.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't stick. It didn't emotionally resonate with people. So I think they're probably going to try it again in a few. They're going to reboot it again. It's going to be their third attempt. The third time's the charm.
But Bill, they already took a picture together. They made a logo.
I know.
They can't quit. They can't quit now.
They will though, because nobody cared. It didn't emotionally resonate. Nobody will remember.
But we were going to have Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man, Bill.
Yeah, but nobody will see him anyway. No, I won't go to see him anyway. So who cares?
You know what? Fuck it. Just get the right.
Frankenstein, Bill.
Just get the fucking rights and make a remake to Monster Squad so you can get it out of your system in one go. Just throw everything in there.
But they don't want to do that. They want to do the whole multi-movie deal, like Avengers.
I know they want that, but it's only worked for 2 people at this point. It's only worked for Marvel and so far Legendary. Everyone else who's tried to do it has not fared well.
Yeah.
True,
I don't blame Alex Kurtzman because The Mummy wasn't technically his movie. It was technically Tom Cruise. He took creative control over that.
I heard about that, yeah.
So why isn't he going to be like the new guy who's running the Dark Universe? Like, I would love to see Tom Cruise. I would love to see Tom Cruise's psychotic Dark Universe. That would be
just watch The Mummy. The Mummy is basically directed by Tom Cruise, not Alex Kurtzman.
I saw bits and pieces of it. It was very boring.
If the entire Dark Universe just became a huge metaphor to try and get me to buy into Scientology, it might be worth watching.
Because if it was like the psychotic wet dreams of Tom Cruise playing with the Universal monsters, that's fascinating. I'm down to watch that.
Can you imagine like the final movie they defeat Dracula by like praying to Xenu or some shit? No.
And still trying to convince.
Dracula
and he's
be
still
one of the good guys, or like what's the deal?
Yeah, all the while he's still trying to convince audiences that he's still young and attractive.
Yeah, I mean that was the really weird thing about the movie. I was like, Tom Cruise, what are you doing? You're like 50.
There is a scene in the movie where Russell Crowe calls him a young man. I was like, what?
What?
That's really weird.
They're like the same age, aren't they?
Yeah, but in the context, in context, isn't he like hundreds of years old or whatever?
I don't think
Tom
so.
Cruise?
No, Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe.
Dr. Jekyll.
When you mean hundreds of years old, like the Mummy, or just like?
No, not hundreds. I mean, is he like from Victorian era or?
Tom Cruise is 2 years older than Russell Crowe.
I mean, in the movie, is Dr. Jekyll supposed to be older than your average man?
No, he's just a regular old man. That they never explained the whole Jekyll and Hyde thing. It's just a thing that's there.
But Russell Crowe is literally younger than Tom Cruise, IRL.
Is that true?
Yeah, I just checked right now.
Oh my god, that's really weird.
Yeah, Russell. Here we go. 55. Russell Crowe. Yeah, Russell Crowe is 35. No, what the fuck am I doing? 53. Russell Crowe is 53. Tom Cruise is 55.
That's insane. You're a young man.
He just looks older, and that can only be attributed to 2 things: either Tom Cruise really is
Natural
a vampire,
stuff.
or that's the secret behind Scientology. They found the fountain of youth, and maybe we should all join up.
Ultimately, all I wanted this for was to get a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I'm getting that with the Guillermo del Toro movie next month, so ultimately, we're all good.
I actually found the early draft of The Mummy before Tom Cruise took over, and, well, I haven't read it yet, but I've noticed some changes.
Is there less Tom Cruise in it? Less of Tom Cruise's character?
Well, first of all, Tom Cruise's character is not called Nick Morton like he is in the movie. He's called something else. And it's about Navy SEALs rather than Tom Cruise's, I guess he was a treasure hunter, pirate? I don't know what he was. A Navy SEAL? I don't know, but it's different. I can already tell it's different from the final product because Tom Cruise, this is how much creative control Tom Cruise had over the movie. He had his writer for the Mission Impossible movies come in and do a rewrite of The Mummy.
That explains a lot.
Because
like some of the sets were really cool. That's what really disappointed me. I was like, if you had a story that was cool, this would kind of work.
I'm ashamed to admit that I was actually excited for The Mummy.
Did you like it?
No, not really. I mean, it was an okay movie.
It's not offensively bad, no.
I mean, yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not like something I would, buy the day it comes out, which I didn't because it's not worth the money.
Mm. Yeah, it was certainly forgotten. It's unfortunate. I kind of want to see this thing take off, but I want it to be something good, and what I saw from that wasn't. So I'm not really broken up about it.
Bring back Brendan Fraser.
No, he doesn't even act anymore.
Oh, that's true. What is he doing nowadays?
Selling
working at McDonald's or something?
Selling real estate.
Really?
I don't know.
No, because it seemed believable. I would believe it.
Don't believe anything I say.
Because Thomas
about
Tull,
cryptids.
the producer behind the MonsterVerse, he's now becoming a farmer. That's legit.
Oh my god. I'm glad he kicked it off before he decided to do that.
Yeah. All right. I guess moving on to next, more news. It looks like Lord of the Rings is officially getting a TV series on Amazon.
Oh my god.
I am excited and concerned for this.
How much walking is there going to be this time?
It's going to be like The Walking Dead. Every episode is them walking to a new location.
Oh my god.
The walking of the ring.
Let's see. The upcoming Amazon Prime original will be produced by Amazon Studios. I didn't know that was a thing. In cooperation with the Tolkien Estate and Trust, HarperCollins,
Are they
and
going
New
to
Line
film it on the estate?
and New Line Cinema division of Warner Brothers Entertainment. Let's see. Head of scripted series, Amazon Studios. Lord of the Rings is a cultural phenomenon that has captured the imagination of generations of fans through literature and the big screen. We are honored to be working with the Tolkien Estate and Trust, HarperCollins and New Line on this exciting collaboration for television, and are thrilled to be taking the Lord of the Rings fans on a new epic journey in Middle-earth. We are delighted that Amazon, with its long-standing commitment to literature, is the first home of the first-ever multi-season television series for Lord of the Rings. Sharon and the team at Amazon Studios have exceptional ideas to bring to screen previously unexplored stories based on J.R.R. Tolkien's original writings.
I mean...
Okay.
I'm not really crazy about the movies, so I want to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Well, first of all, it's okay, Bill. We're all wrong occasionally, but
I haven't seen them in a long time, so
I have my reservations, but enough about where I keep my Native Americans. I have some questions, basically. I guess there's definitely material, because the books are way longer and are a lot more detailed than the movies actually are. Even the extended cuts are still I don't know, maybe 30-40%. But the thing is, I don't know how much of what's in the books that aren't in the movies would make for compelling television. I don't know if I want an entire episode of Frodo hanging out with Tom Bombadil. I know there are a lot of Tolkien fans who really love Tom Bombadil, and they were upset that there was no Tom Bombadil in the movies. To me, that's a point where that book just screeches to a halt for 100 pages or however long it was. But whatever, to each his own. I don't know. It's all gonna depend on if they can match all of the things that made the movies so great. The movies had fucking the production value, the stars, the acting chops that were at play in those movies. I don't know. It's a high bar that they're aiming for. And so I'm really curious to see how close they come to approaching it. If they throw Game of Thrones money at this thing, then which is I'm assuming is what they're going to do, because everybody's been looking for the next Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
But if they're throwing that kind of money behind it, then maybe they can give us something good. So at the end of the day, regardless of whether it's good or bad, I've got the fucking movies. So I have mine,
right.
And I have my ideal version. So it doesn't really matter. But I'm curious.
Okay, yeah. I think I feel like, I with so much detail jam-packed in those books, I feel like there is enough material for a television series, but I feel like you're going to definitely need the budget in order to make the world of Middle-earth come alive like it did on the big screen. And I'm not sure what kind of budget that Amazon has. Yeah.
And will they film in New Zealand is a huge question, because those landscapes are so connected to the franchise now in an inescapable way that I don't know if they could. I don't know if the fans would accept it if they were to say, "Oh, we're just going to film it in the English countryside. Like I don't know if people would react well to that. There's a very specific look to those landscapes that is so like endemic to the way people view this franchise now. And then there's like questions about what kind of money do you have to throw into a TV budget to pull off Gollum? Like
ooh, that's another big one. Maybe they'll just
more than I have, certainly.
Maybe unless they just do it like through makeup and don't do like the whole motion capture thing, that would be an interesting sort of different take on it.
They just get like a midget and make it look like the porno parody.
Oh no!
Oh no, sir. That's another thing. Things that they did in the movies to make those hobbits look so short, or are they going to get like actual midgets?
Like everyone's going to be everyone's going to be like Peter Dinklage. But then how are you going to portray the dwarves?
Slightly taller midgets. Have you not seen midgets? There's a scale, right?
There's a whole farm of them of different sizes and varieties.
You have the little Yoda-looking ones, but then you also have the sort of like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like the taller Munchkins, like the Munchkin coroner who comes up at the end of the song and tells us that the witch is dead. He's taller than all the other ones. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Fascinating. Simply fascinating. So are they going to do The Hobbit as well as the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
Let's see. What did the announcement say?
If they get the rights to the Lord of the Rings, that includes The Hobbit, right?
Let's see. Set in Middle-earth, the television adaptation will explore new storylines preceding the Fellowship of the Ring. The deal will include I guess not. It's just preceding Fellowship of the Ring. The deal includes a potential additional spin-off series.
Okay, so we're getting into some of like the appendices and like the Silmarillion and stuff like that.
Yes, whatever you said.
That's cool. I'd like to see like some on TV exploration of like all the backstory to like who Gandalf and the other wizards are and all that shit, and the Maiar and the Balrog and Morgoth and all that deep cut lore shit that the movies just don't get into for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
They sort of hint at it a little bit, especially when Gandalf is like talking smack to the Balrog.
Yeah,
because those wizards aren't just old dudes; they're like these angelic beings who are in human form, walking the Middle Earth and doing things.
I see.
I'm sure they'd like to have that opinion of themselves.
And what has been like the most, in terms of like scale and special effects, what has been like the biggest show that Amazon has been able to put out so far?
I'm not sure. The only thing I know for a fact that they've done.
See, how big is the scope of the Tick?
It's pretty street level.
I haven't watched.
Like Daredevil.
Yeah, it's kind of a parody, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet, but they did that the adaptation of The Man in the High Castle, which is a Philip K. Dick novel about an alternate timeline where the Nazis won World War II.
Okay.
I haven't actually watched that show, so I don't know how big the scope is. But based on the premise, it certainly has the potential to be very big.
Right.
Now, Dylan, do you think that if they can't afford to have a big scope, do you think Lord of the Rings can work with a small scope?
Okay, since they're doing storylines that precede what happened in the movies, yes. Okay, so they might not have the money to pull off, like, the Battle of Minas Tirith, for example. But, like, I don't know, some story about, like, Aragorn being a ranger and, like, running around. I don't, so I'm sure they could pull that off, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's, like, sort of an anthology-type deal where it's just, like, different stories from that universe. That might be interesting. There's certainly ways to now that I've heard the premise, that makes a lot more sense to me, because there is no way you do the story that was portrayed in the movie without throwing way more money at a TV show than anyone would be sane enough to do.
Okay then. Let's see. David, do you have any thoughts? Like, are you a fan of Lord of the Rings?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, I'm excited and concerned because, like Dylan said, everyone's trying to find their own Game of Thrones, their own Walking Dead, and this has the potential to be a flop. But at the same time, it has the potential to actually be the next Game of Thrones if they develop it properly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess time will only tell on how all of this will play out. Because apparently, like, it's technically a prequel to the Fellowship.
And I have no doubt that their viewership numbers will be huge, especially starting out because it's a known property, and you know the Tolkien fans are ravenous. But so they've definitely bought themselves.
It's kind of the equivalent of getting a Star Wars TV show, isn't it?
It was a nice starting audience, but what they have to do is deliver on that promise in order to keep people coming, and that will be the real challenge.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm not as in depth with the Lord of the Rings fan base, but are Lord of the Rings fans looking for more Lord of the Rings content to consume, or are most of them just already satisfied with the movies?
It depends on your fan. I mean, there are Lord of the Rings fans who are total book purists and hate the movies, and they're probably not too excited that we're getting a TV series either. It's a very varied group of. It's kind of analogous to the Godzilla fandom. There's varying degrees of knowledge, passion, and opinion,
and violence,
and violence. Personally, I mean, the movies are, especially the extended editions, are always sort of my version of the story simply because it was my gateway into it, and I think pacing wise, there's something to be said for them over the books. But the books are also really fucking good, and I can totally understand why people would have the opposite opinion. It's a whole there's a gradient there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those fans who thinks the more Lord of the Rings, the better. Actually, I was one of the few that actually supported the whole trilogy idea for The Hobbit.
See, I think 2 movies probably would have been enough. Then we wouldn't have had the bloating of the 5 pages. But kind of had the opposite problem of the Dark Tower, right? Where with the Hobbit, it was let's take one really short book that was written for kids and expand it into a 3-part epic trilogy. And with the Dark Tower, it's like let's take a fucking 8-book long, just monster work of fiction and condense it into like a 90-minute movie with Idris Elba.
I saw that. It was a nightmare.
And what's his name?
Matthew McConaughey.
That's right. All right. Running around.
It was not all right.
I'd like to thank Jesus for this Oscar. Idris, you're no match for my magics. But anyway, the opposite problem.
It's
kind of ironic because
nevertheless,
it's kind of ironic because in the beginning they were trying to push Peter Jackson to do a 2-movie or 1-movie deal for the Lord of the Rings to cram all those 3 books into 1 or 2 movies.
Mm-hmm. Right, and it was going to be like Peter Jackson was going to do like 1 movie, and then Guillermo del Toro was going to do another movie.
It would have been like the original trilogy of Star Wars.
That was I'm talking about for the Lord of the Rings trilogy before it went to...
Oh, okay, sorry. I was thinking of The Hobbit, yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Different studios wanted different things. This should really only be 2 movies. At one point it was like, let's just make 1 movie, which would have been awful. And then eventually New Line, because New Line was a fucking bastion of fucking creative beautifulness, they were like, this should probably be 3 movies, huh? And Peter Jackson was like, yes, thank you. I recently learned, and this kind of excuses how The Hobbit turned out to a degree. It's not quite a George Lucas prequel trilogy situation. What essentially happened was that Guillermo del Toro pulled out at a very inopportune time, and Peter Jackson just sort of had to take over the reins, like partway into like them already, like the wheels were already in motion, and he had to take over the fucking cab basically. And so there's a lot of
Why
on
did
the
Guillermo
fly.
del Toro leave?
I don't remember.
It was because he had the opportunity to actually bring Mountains of Madness to into production, but then that fell through, and then
Right.
and then that's when he went to Pacific Rim.
Because Del Toro is a huge Lovecraft guy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Del Toro, no, not Del Toro. Peter Jackson there was a lot of on-the-fly adaptation that didn't work out so well because he didn't really have the time to think things through to the same degree that he did with Lord of the Rings.
Also, the first Hobbit movie, like you can see the Del Toro influences throughout that first film in the first half of The Desolation of Smog.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
No, that doesn't excuse the overuse of digital effects, where the original films had this wonderful mixture of, basically 60-40 practical and digital in the original films. in The Hobbit, it's more 80-20.
Very true.
There's no reason for digital orcs. That's not a thing that has to happen.
Remember when the first movie came out, and the first Hobbit movie came out, and there was like this controversial new format that he wanted to release the film in, where he wanted to increase like the frame rate.
48 frames or something
48,
like that?
yes, because the standard is 24. Did he continue that with the next two movies, or was it so hated upon that he dropped it?
I think they did, but it wasn't as publicized because, half of the population hated it.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things where, like, it made, like, half of the people that saw it really sick.
Yeah, I kind of got that feeling, that dizziness feeling, too, when I saw it. It's like, ugh.
I forgot when that
God.
was a thing, the more frames per second than usual.
Yeah, to make everything look like it's on fast forward.
People who didn't, like, need a barf bag when they left the theater were like, oh, that was really cool. I can but yeah, it didn't have.
Did you puke?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it in the higher frame rate.
I did just to see what it was all about.
Did you puke?
I actually.
No, it was like the same reaction I got whenever I go to Walmart or Best Buy and I see one of those TVs with the high frame rate.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just meant in general, just like whenever I go to Walmart, just sick to my stomach.
No, not Walmart. I mean, whenever I go to Walmart or Best Buy and I go to the electronics section,
depressed about the future of humanity.
I mean, don't you guys see those TVs like where the high frame rate is there, and you think to yourself, who the fuck would enjoy a movie or anything?
Why does Star Wars look like a soap opera?
Yes.
I've seen some of those TVs at like Walmart they've gotten so high in the definition that like for a split second you're like, am I looking out a window right now or is this a television?
Right.
Like it's crazy. I'm like, I can count the leaves. I didn't want to count the leaves.
It's like, sure, I can count the leaves, but why?
It's always the weirdest stuff on there too, like the weirdest demo stuff. Like, you like beaches, right? I guess.
I can fucking count how many times the hummingbird flaps its wings, but that's not a thing that I ever wanted.
By the way, if you Googled Walmart people, you will find some horrific shit.
I've never Googled that specific thing, but now I guess I'll have to.
I mean, look, go to a Walmart at like 2 a.m.
Just look at some people, and you'll get a good sense of what he means.
It's like bird watching, but terrifying.
Far more dangerous.
Although I guess bird watching could be terrifying if you had a fear of birds. So imagine that. That's what.
Good God, Andres! What triggered you to Google Walmart people?
What Bill said right now.
Scaring the hell out of him.
About
That's what I always do. I always make some Google stuff.
There's a picture of one woman with a fat ass who hasn't wiped her ass.
Hot. I'm glad that's a thing.
The first image that pops up when you Google search that, I don't know what is going on with this woman's hair.
I know. It looks like a baby Wookiee is sitting, or like an Ewok is sitting on her head.
No, it looks like Whitney Houston shrunk in the wash, but her hair stayed the same size.
Right.
There's one guy whose back is like enormous and his legs are really tiny, but clearly it's not a Walmart. It's like a gas station of some kind. It's definitely not a Walmart.
Looks like a Ninja Turtle.
I don't know how that happens. Like, how does that body shape exist in
Why
nature?
are so many people taking pictures of people's butt cracks? Why do you want that in your memory?
Because butt cracks are funny.
I suppose so. There's one like
You see the-
savage woman with like fucking furs and shit.
Did you see the bearded? Did you see the bearded woman?
There's lots of fucking vagina shots. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on at Walmart.
That's
Well,
a woman.
I guess that's the question. Is it a bearded woman or is it a very
An effeminate man.
Well, I'm
Very
glad,
well
I'm glad we
dressed.
used Google to answer that question for us.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, back boobs. Why?
So many thongs in public.
So many
Look
songs
at-
about them.
Look at the
What?
fat guy that. Look at the fat guy that's fallen out of his scooter and he's trying to use the shelves to climb back up.
What would have happened if Bill Anders? What would happen if we went to Walmart when we were in California?
We would have left you there forever. And
Well,
stolen
first
your
of all,
car.
that was your ride back.
I
to
would
the
have
hotel.
stolen your car.
I mean, I assume it wouldn't have been any different than when we went to Walmart in New York. Like what? Just it's a Walmart.
There are walls and there's marts in them.
They're literally the same everywhere, and that's what's so magical and disturbing about them.
David, what is going on in the background?
Whoops.
Why do I hear the
That's like the music Wonder Woman's facing when she's going up against all these Walmart zombies.
Back, I say, back!
Never before
that's
has-
the Wonder Woman sequel I want to see. Wonder Woman in Walmart.
Wonder Woman WW versus W.
W versus all of the above. Listen, Wonder Woman, I think you're great, but you gotta stop murdering people with your sword. That's just not cool,
Why are
There's
there so
literally
many
a picture-
obese
there's literally a
people
picture
wearing
of some-
shit that's way too tight for them and too revealing for them?
There's literally a
Why
picture
not,
of some
Andres?
dude dressed.
Why are you limiting them?
Because it's a crime against nature.
Well, nature's gonna have to take it up with David.
Hey, don't
Yeah.
blame me. I am a force of nature, not responsible for the destruction I caused.
Nature's gonna be responsible for you.
Oh yes,
it is, right?
sounds like the Trump defense.
Oh boy. Well, anyways, on to the next story. Since I'm pretty sure we're finished with televised Lord of the Rings. Apparently, a Super Mario Brothers movie is in the works at Illumination
Because that's
Entertainment.
worked so well the last time.
But it's going to be animated this time. According to the Wall Street Journal's reports, Nintendo is close to making a deal with Illumination Entertainment to make an animated Super Mario film. Let's see. The companies are near a deal, citing their own sources. The negotiations have been going on for about a year, buoyed by the theme
They
park
should get
partner.
John Leguizamo to be Bowser.
Bowser? Why Bowser?
He should be the villain, like he was of the last one, production-wise.
No, he
I'm
was
kidding.
Luigi. He was Luigi.
I know.
No. If there was anyone who was a villain of the production, it was the writers, the two writers.
They should be Bowser.
Yeah, so much so that everyone in the production hated the two writers who kept changing the script every day, and it's so much so that everybody
It
involved
doesn't even have Mario
like,
in it now. Now it's just a dinosaur documentary.
like at that point, like a lot of these people in production would wear shirts with quotes that the writers would say, and they would wear them, and it gave so less of a fuck. They would wear them while the writers are on set.
Brilliant.
You
want to know more about
you know who definitely won't be in the movie?
what's his name? Shit.
Fucking Bob Hoskins.
Aww. That's true.
Thanks.
I mean,
Thanks for the reminder.
Look, I wonder if they'll get Charles Martinet to do the voices again for Mario and Luigi, much like how Peter Cullen does the voice of movie Optimus Prime.
It's going to be animated, right?
Yeah, it's going to be Illumination Entertainment is the animation company responsible for Hop, Despicable Me, 1, 2, 3, Minions, Sing, and the Lorax and the Secret Life of Pets. So
And this is
go
the
ahead.
problem story.
Yeah, like
Doing another
Sorry.
Mario movie and actually doing an animated. Great, sounds great. Who's doing it? Illumination. Oh,
It's like they make very profitable movies, but they're not
There are lots of
movies
fart
that,
jokes.
Yeah, they're like movies that they're kind of like flash in the pan, where it's like it's popular for like for the next couple of months, and then people are going to immediately forget about them as like by next year.
except
Kinda
It's like very
Bill's-
it's like very
Bill's
disposable.
True account.
It's like it's like disposable. It's like they're like the potato chips of like if Pixar is like a gourmet meal, like Illumination is just like forgettable disposable snacks.
I mean, you need that too.
they got one. They created the Minions, and that became like a cultural phenomenon for some fucking reason.
Even Japan is obsessed with the Minions.
So they got
Like,
one. But ever
I would
since
ask
then,
I would ask my children, "What's your favorite anime?" Minions.
Your
Anime.
children.
My students, I mean, my child students.
oh yeah, that's totally an anima.
To them, all
No,
animation is anime.
Listen, Illumination's movies are not profitable because of their quality. They are profitable in spite of their quality, and the reason is they're super like bubble gum popcorn, easy to sell to children. They're super fucking cheap. So like one day at the box office, and they've pretty much made their budget back already.
Mhm.
And
They also do well internationally
They
Yeah.
do.
because they're
They
more
do.
slapsticky.
And the other thing about them that I can't stand, get ready to see fucking 20 trailers for this movie every day for the rest
Oh
of your life.
yeah.
Because Illumination has the most obnoxious marketing department on the face of the earth.
Yeah, just
I can't say that
was
they're bad.
oversold.
I can't say that they're bad at their jobs. I can't tell you how many times I saw that fucking Secret Life of Secret Life of Pets trailer, or the one for Sing, which was even worse. But
Oh yeah.
but man, they're obnoxious about it. It's gonna be like that fucking Mark Wahlberg oil rig movie where I was like, can this fucking thing just come out so I can stop watching that trailer every goddamn time I go to the theater, please?
Mhm.
That's all.
That's how I felt one year when my friend Pete and I saw the internship with what was his name, Owen Wilson and
Oh, I saw the trailer for that a million times on YouTube
yeah,
too.
me too. Yeah, it's like at that point, Pete and I were like, "Fuck it, let's watch it," and we were like the only people in the theater who watched it that night.
Did you like it?
No, it was very. It was very predictable. It's like there's nothing new here I haven't seen in a bunch of other buddy comedies.
I love the way you answered that question. You didn't just say no. You put like all this stank on it. You were like, no.
As if at any point it would have been good.
I think I mostly got inspired by how you would say it in the past.
As if the very concept that you might have liked it was offensive to you.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? What do you take me for?
Person with no taste.
Somebody who gives Vince Vaughn a chance, please.
Ugh.
Yeah.
He
So
took the bullets out of those guys' guns in Jurassic World or the Lost World Jurassic Park.
yeah, and look what happened. People died.
Yeah. And he was a bad Norman Bates. So you know what?
Fuck him.
I don't care. Fuck him.
So, anyways, is anyone with the uneasy announcement that Illumination will be making a Mario movie? Is anyone here excited that there's going to be a new Mario movie?
I'll see it, I guess, but I'm not really a huge Mario guy, so I'm not like jumping to see it. I'm more sort of interested to see if they fuck it up.
Okay, and yeah, this was it.
I would be much happier with this story if two things were changed. One, it wasn't Illumination. I'd be happier with literally any other animation studio. Or B, if it was fucking Zelda instead. Because he needs a shot, damn it.
Yes, a hook shot.
Well, Netflix is developing a Zelda show, isn't it? Is it
That
live
was
action or animated?
That was rumored, and those plans fell through, I think.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, those were just rumors.
Shit!
They should.
Nintendo said nope.
They
Son of a
should.
bitch.
Now,
I'm pissed.
Now that the Disney gravy train is pulling out of the Netflix station, they do need to find themselves some new cash cows, don't they?
Yeah, you know what? Could be their chance. Even though they haven't announced the deal between Universal and Nintendo is just one film with the potential to further franchise the iconic video game property from there. So who knows? Maybe the Universal. It may be possible that Universal could abandon the Dark Universe and instead work on the Smash Brothers universe.
That would probably be more profitable.
I'd be down for that. I'd love to see like a Metroid Prime movie in like the style of a Guardians or Thor Ragnarok.
Or heck, even Ridley Scott's Alien.
Mix Thor Ragnarok with Alien, sure.
Yeah. I mean, the Metroid games were pretty much inspired by Ridley Scott's Alien series. Or I guess mostly James Cameron's Aliens.
That actually sounds like a really interesting combination. Fucking Alien and Thor Ragnarok.
We're not doing it.
So let's see. Illumination. So far, the movie is in quote-unquote early development, and so Illumination currently has 4 untitled films slated for release in 2021, 2022, and 2023. So perhaps one of those years will...
2023. Oh my god, that's in like 6 years.
Yeah, so
will
possibly...
we even be alive?
Do they not have anything planned for the next, 2 years? Are we getting a break?
Maybe we'll get Despicable Me 4 and Minions 2.
Maybe that means that they're actually going to spend time on the animation. Nah.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm glad Nintendo has decided to be more willing to experiment with adaptations again, because they haven't done so in the longest time. Let's see. They did so a while back. They had multiple Mario cartoons and the Mario movie, the Zelda cartoon, the Captain N cartoon. But
that was all a long time ago, though, when they were more
exactly,
popular.
Yeah. I think after the Mario movie, they were like, nope, let's never do this again. And so, oh no, who knows? Maybe I know Nintendo is doing that theme park partnership with Universal, to where Universal is planning on making. They're making a Nintendo Land. A Nintendo portion to their theme parks. My only question is, because Universal Studios is a pretty small park, I'm wondering where exactly are they going to fit it? Because usually whenever Universal Studios makes a new theme park attraction, they have to sacrifice something popular.
Are they going to get rid of Harry Potter?
Yeah, they just built Harry Potter. There's no way they're going to get rid of that.
No, it's probably going to be half Harry Potter, half Nintendo. That'll be the whole park now.
Yeah, and I know it's a lot of
Nintendo Potter.
I noticed that a lot of the new attractions at Universal Studios are those Back to the Future style rides where you put on 3D glasses and the seats rock about as you're watching some movie. So I noticed a lot. Yeah, like Kong. Yeah, pretty much everything. I feel I really hope we get some real rides and not just a lot of those 4D experience rides.
Is the classic Jurassic Park ride still there? Because if so, it's probably its time.
It's definitely still there, but it's in desperate need of an update, especially when it comes to those rickety 20-year-old mechanical dinosaurs.
I wouldn't be surprised if they give that the boot for Nintendo Land, just because it's been there for fucking.
That would break my heart so badly, and a bunch of other.
It's not big enough.
Maybe because it's a ride. So there's a lot of room there for the boats to move around. Unlike
they just update that and not get rid of it.
Also, what does a Nintendo Land look like? Because each Nintendo game kind of has its own aesthetic. So, do you make it look like the Mario world?
Presumably it's Smash Brothers themed.
Do you make it look like fucking Hyrule? Do you make it look like the fucking
Kirby world?
Kirby world. A whole lot of. Just a whole lot of fluffy clouds and shit.
Yeah. And stars.
I will say
cuddly little enemies that look like they want to hug you instead of murder you.
They would be insane not to develop some sort of Mario Kart ride, though. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That would be on the top of my list.
Yeah.
So you gotta be able to throw shells at people, too.
Yeah.
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Good.
Actual turtle shells. You just chuck them at each other.
Actual turtles.
Everybody who goes into the game, they sign a waiver. It's fine.
Including the turtles.
They're aware of the fact that shells will be chucked at their heads. The turtles are all suicidal, so it's fine.
They're all massively depressed, yeah, so it's cool. They're all willing and able.
And to be fair, they're fucking turtles, so I can see it.
They don't really care. They don't know what's going on. They're just turtles.
Well, anyways, that is the news. That is the shit you may or may not have cared about with me, Andres Perez.
All right, well, I certainly cared about, like, one of those things. But we're going to move on to the thing that I have a more personal investment, and we're going to be moving on to cryptids. Who knows? We're going to make this our usual double whammy of stuff that is actually happening and stuff that may or may not have happened. We'd like to keep the truth loose here on the Sons of Serizawa podcast, so we're going to keep up with that trend. But we're going to be going back to the roots of cryptozoological TV shows this week. I really enjoyed doing the Lost Tapes commentaries with you guys, so I figured we'd go back to that format, but do a different series that has, cryptozoological themes, but is also a little different. We're gonna do. Is
it Finding Bigfoot?
No, I said the roots. We're gonna go back to the 1970s.
Oh,
is it What New Scooby-Doo?
1970s. So no, it's the new Scooby-Doo movies.
The OG Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo?
No, the one where Shaggy had the red T-shirt in the van.
Ooh. Let's record a commentary for Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf.
I'm down. We'll definitely do. We'll have to do that like next Halloween or something, or when there's a new Scooby-Doo movie.
By the way, who was that? Who was Shaggy's girlfriend that only appeared in that special and nowhere else?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's a good question. And also, why did half of it turn into wacky races? Like, I'm not complaining, but like,
yeah, that was weird.
Also, remember when it was just like Scooby, Shaggy, Scrappy, and Daphne, and like Fred and Velma were nowhere to be seen for a while.
They were off banging.
Yeah.
Fred got experimental. I do. Well, we'll have to discover all of that at a future time, because right now we're going back to a Leonard Nimoy and Rod Serling based series. Yeah, this has got some roots. So we're going to be going back to the 1976 series In Search Of, the original cryptozoological mysterious events documentary series, and one of the most iconic and ones that stuck around. In Search Of started as a series of one-off documentaries about different things. There was In Search of Ancient Astronauts, which was based on Erich von Daniken's Chariot of the Gods. There was the In Search of Ancient Mysteries and the Outer Space Connection, all of which were adapted into books by Alan Landsberg, who produced the documentaries and wrote all of the accompanying written material, like the books and the scripts and all that, and did a lot of the research. And all three of these individual documentaries were narrated by Rod Serling, and he was the one who got the whole thing going. He was the one who had the idea of, well, let's do a sort of anthology-based thriller science fiction kind of series, but based on real life stuff, or stuff that supposedly happened with kind of conjecture based on actual scientific theory. That was the idea, and that was his initial concept. However, unfortunately, he died before the actual series proper could begin. But Leonard Nimoy was right there to step in and replace him, and Leonard Nimoy and Rod Serling were friends, and Rod Serling definitely would have approved of Leonard Nimoy coming in to do it. So Leonard Nimoy became the narrator and later on frequent researcher of In Search Of. At one point they did one about Vincent van Gogh, and he actually went to Van Gogh's hometown and did all kinds of crazy research. He actually played Vincent van Gogh's brother in a movie, so he had a personal stake in it, and he did some personal research. So In Search Of is one of the more credited series of the time. It's more influential. A lot of people have seen it. A lot of the people who have done even fictitious works that reference stuff like this, oftentimes they're referencing In Search Of. And a lot of these cryptozoological and mysterious event stories, this is how they got put into the public consciousness. And tonight we're going to do commentaries on it and rip it apart. So all of In Search Of is on YouTube. You can find it on your own very easily. And we're going to be doing 2 of the most iconic episodes that Leonard Nimoy did. Have you guys ever seen In Search of before?
Definitely not. I haven't heard about this until now.
This is the first time you were ever hearing of it?
Yeah, In Search of, yeah. I mean, I would certainly would have known a show that Rod Serling and Leonard Nimoy worked on before.
Yeah. I was aware of it. I didn't know all the details that you just laid out, though. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Haven't watched it.
Well, we're gonna do that right now. How about you, David?
I have heard of it, but I've never seen anything from the actual show. I actually heard about it through The Simpsons because they made a parody of an In Search of parody where Homer found an alien outside of Springfield, but it turned out to be Mr. Burns on drugs.
Brilliant. It's something that's infected the public consciousness and has been ripped off a million times thereafter.
Matt, however you pronounce his fucking last name, must be a huge Rod Serling fan, because there's also that ongoing Twilight Zone parody in Futurama, The Scary Door.
Oh, Matt Growing, I think.
I don't think it's actually...
Okay.
Pronounced... Yeah, it's not actually pronounced groaning. Like, I've seen him get pissed at people in interviews.
Damn it, I've been doing this for 30 fucking years.
So would Bill get mad if somebody pronounced his last name as Wooster?
I've had people do that, and I'm largely ambivalent.
I don't know why they would.
You do have people calling you Will for some odd reason.
I mean, I largely retain that for work, so people can't look me up on the online later.
on the online.
It's like, my name is Rusty Shackelford.
My name is Ben Dover.
It protects him from the Google machines.
Speaking of the Google machines, I have just sent you guys a link to the first In Search of episode we're going to be doing a commentary on through Skype. I want you guys to click on it and get it to 00 and turn on closed captioning, because somehow the auto-generated closed captions on this are pretty good. So we are going to make use of that. So turn those on and mute the video, so that way we can do that. And we're going to do a commentary on it. So I am not super familiar with this series personally myself. I watched a few episodes of it. I got the DVDs like years ago, and I watched a couple episodes. The thing that I took away from it is it's stuff that I already know, you know? Because it's stuff that's been recycled a million times in other documentaries that I've seen that were made later, because this was the starting place of this kind of thing. Nothing, and that's why Rod Serling and Leonard Nimoy were the best at it, and the ones who really came at it the most professionally, because nothing else was like this at the time. Everything like this was fiction, you know? There were no supernatural-themed documentary series like this that presented themselves as, well, maybe this stuff has more credence than you might have thought, if you open your mind to it. So, this certainly was revolutionary in that respect, but just going back to it now, it doesn't necessarily hold up, and because of the information being recycled so many times, it's like, well, I guess the atmosphere of that was nice to revisit, but the information certainly didn't enlighten me too much. But maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly because I was younger. We're going to give it a go now, and I want you guys to give me your thoughts on it. So do you guys all have it at 00?
Yep.
Bill, I'm experiencing some sort of weird technical difficulty here. I'm getting this video is unavailable.
Really?
What about you, David?
I actually have the video. I don't have any issues.
Me too.
Reboot it.
Try clicking on the link again.
Download Firefox or Safari.
Fuck Firefox.
Beat up your computer until it does what you want.
I like the alliteration there. Fuck Firefox.
Use it to install Chrome.
Use Firefox. Install Chrome. Imagine that's the only time you use Firefox in your entire life is to install Chrome.
That's the last time I used it.
That's the only time I've used Internet Explorer.
The only time I used Firefox was to watch porn.
Hot.
Good for you, David.
We're gonna start with Bigfoot because I wanted to do cryptids that we're already familiar with to see how what we talked about in the episodes we've already done compares to how they describe them here. I think that'll be interesting because again, this is kind of the starting place of their introduction to the public consciousness.
Okay.
So we're gonna do Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. Those are going to be the two that we're gonna cover, and these are about the same length as Lost Tapes, so we should definitely be able to get through two, no problem.
All right, I got the fucking thing working. So
good. So I hope you at home have done the very same thing, found In Search of Bigfoot, Season 1, Episode 5 on YouTube, and gotten it all up and ready to go with the closed captioning on, because we here at the SOS are going to be pressing play in 3, 2, 1, play. So this is probably where a lot of people saw the Patterson footage for the first time, in particular, on TV.
Really?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, this is like 10 years later. So obviously it wasn't like the first time it was aired, but this is probably the first time a lot of people saw it. Because it was attached to a thing that would appear on reruns and attached to a proper show, as opposed to a news broadcast or shown in newsreels in movie theaters, which is what happened at the time.
Mm.
There's a lot of stock footage in these, though, and that's the thing that kind of makes you tune out when you're watching them, you know?
Like that aerial shot?
Yeah, it's a lot of, like, here's the woods, use your imagination.
B-roll. You mean, oh yeah, like B-roll.
Without a doubt. But it's very, it creates a certain degree of atmosphere, but, you know. Oh, we talked about this one. This is Ape Canyon. Who's got the sound on? I told you to turn the sound off.
Oh, sorry.
The fucking closed caption's working, so take use of it.
Not all the time, Bill.
Has it been fucking up? I mean, everything I've seen has been consistent so far.
I mean, it probably depends on whatever browser you're using.
I wonder if we're going to see the big feet.
Quit trying to push your Firefox on us, Dave.
I mainly use
Who
Safari
sent you?
now.
Oh, I saw it fuck up a little bit. It called it Aid Canyon.
How the fuck is there an In Search of episode for Dracula? They're aware that it's a buck.
It's probably about the real guy, though.
Well, then how is that a search?
He's dead.
It's in search of his corpse.
You know what my episode of In Search of for Dracula is? Fucking Google.
We're getting into the Native American lore now, which is some of my most favorite Bigfoot mythology because I find it to be the most interesting because it goes back so far.
You know, what if Sasquatch is just like a really like hairy Indian? Like
they've put that forward before. That's been a theory that I've seen in documentaries.
Like that family in Mexico with that disease where they like have the hair all over their bodies. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
They all look like Lon Chaney.
Mm. Why are they like walking in front of cameras though, and all weird, and naked?
Here you have the rare '70s Jew.
So what do you know? Well, this is Leonard Nimoy. Huh? What do you guys think
Seen
of?
Seen in his natural environment.
Well, Leonard Nimoy kind of brought in your natural fan base to this because he already had the Star Trek thing, so that's why they really wanted him.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rod Serling would have brought people in too because of.
Well, that's why they got Leonard Nimoy to replace him after Rod Serling died.
And that other show he did, fucking Night Gallery, which would have been more recent to this.
Right. All right, we get it. Bigfoot is probably related to man.
Hey, that one looks like Bill.
They all looked like you, David, until the very end when they started to look like me. Here we have Jerry Lewis from The Nutty Professor.
It is in my best interest.
This is the bang with the teeth and the bones and the badness.
It is in my best interest to deny the existence of Bigfoot.
I think he's talking about a Gigantopithecus fossil. That seems to be what's being built up. Yeah, old China. Yep. I called it. So this is, like I said, this is the first time a lot of the Bigfoot stuff that I grew up seeing in later documentaries was introduced, like the Native American lore. Here we have the Patterson. I mean, this is a picture, but there is Patty right there, in all her titted glory.
Patty?
That's what they call her, because she's supposed to be a female Sasquatch, because you can like see tits on her. You can kind of see them there. They're sagging down there. She's definitely thick as fuck. That's the one thing I've always appreciated about her, you know?
Is that how you like your Bigfoots, Bill?
That's how I like all my patties.
Now, does this include the Patty from The Simpsons?
Who is this dude? Why are they only talking to him? He's got a Sasquatch like mascot banner behind him.
He's like a Bigfootologist or something.
Is that his official title?
Yeah.
By the way, what's the plural for Bigfoot? Bigfoots or big feets?
That's
or
a
big
good question. I mean, Sasquatch is. That's why that term is probably better, because then it's it's a general term.
Sasquatches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess you could also use Sasquatch as its own plural.
Also, is it moose or meese?
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like it doesn't.
Or mooses.
What I
Does this
wanted was
predate-
more. What I wanted. What were you gonna say?
Does this predate the Buggy Creek thing?
It's probably around exactly the same time. Bigfoot is just picking up steam as a pop culture icon around this time. This is around the same time as this is probably after, but you have like the $6 Million Man as well. I want to see some like reenactments of these fucking sightings. I want to see a bad 70s Bigfoot costume. That's what I've been waiting for.
As long as they're better than the reenactments we watched last time.
Oh, that was awesome.
Which there was nothing. Oh no, there was something. There was a person dressed like Gollum.
I guess there was a vampire.
We haven't seen Bigfoot yet, though. Who's got sound on? I told you guys to turn it off. I will hunt you all down. And
I will find you.
And rip your fucking speakers out. Something like this is obviously a million times better than your Boggy Creek, though, because it's a lot more straightforward about what it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, one other thing that was really popular about the show was the opening crawl, where it said that a lot of this is based on scientific theory, but it also includes our own conjecture based on said scientific theory. So they're a lot more straight up about it than Lost Tapes as well. But it's also more real than Lost Tapes because it's a lot more of just interviewing people and talking about stuff that actually happened.
And it's also not teenagers hanging out by a lake for 30 minutes.
This is classy, man. It's just a little dated.
Probably in the good way.
I agree.
It gets that nice old country 70s homely feel.
I would love to sit in my upstate house and watch this. Like, that's what I would love. Fucking nice joint in my hand. Fucking imagining Bigfoot wandering around outside.
Is that Mickey from the Rocky movies?
Bigfoot, he ate lightning and he craps thunder.
I should know. I trained him myself.
This smell of Sasquatch. See, this is like... I haven't seen this in a long time. A lot of this is like really... It puts together a lot of things that were just kind of disparate elements of the lore. That... that like this is the earliest I've seen them put together.
Well, I was in my pickup.
Yay, some more reenactments of people walking around the woods. I wonder if Leonard Nimoy's Bilbo Baggins song also carried some popularity over to this.
Oh, I mean, that's the main thing. The 70s were awash with people telling their kids, look, this show has Leonard Nimoy. Who? The guy from Star Trek. What's Star Trek? The guy who did the Bilbo song. Oh.
Oh, right. Of course. Naturally, we remember that.
Hey, this was on the History Channel, you guys.
Well, it was reruns at that point. That was the interesting thing. They tried to bring it back in 2002, but they only did one special, and it never picked up. Leonard Nimoy didn't come back. It was somebody else as the host. But apparently the only reason they can't do it now is because of rights issues. But you can get all the show on DVD, so it's been released.
I would totally watch a remake of this show with, like, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, that was kind of his deal, except he had a more personal touch than Leonard Nimoy does here.
Only, his would be like, in search of the dankest weed.
Do you guys think this comes off as corny now?
I don't know, because I tend to enjoy a lot of things that people would consider corny nowadays. I just think of it as, like, charming.
But this is a lot more straight-laced and reserved and earnest than I think.
Yeah, definitely, because nowadays any sort of Bigfoot show you have, there's that stock music that every single reality show has.
Everything has to stank of, like, whoever is out there chasing Bigfoot's personality now, and it can't.
There's always something kind of creepy and unsettling too about, like, old shitty footage.
Right. Well, because it feels more it's a more analogous to your Patterson footage and everything, and your pictures of Yeti footprints by Sir Edmund Hillary. That Sasquatch has a really big hunchback. He needs to go to the doctor. And look how small his butt is compared to his shoulders.
Oh my God, we found the missing link between the Walmart guy and Sasquatch.
It looked identical to those pictures. That's wild.
Here's the thing, though, Bill. Yes, small butt, but very well defined.
Listen, he clearly does a lot of glute training. You're right.
Or he's a pretty shitty artist who can never keep track of proportions.
That Sasquatch has like 8 different toes.
That's definitely not right, Andres. Clearly this Bigfoot just, bikes everywhere.
I think this is Peter Byrne. This is a guy who very prolific in the Sasquatch community. Spent 40 years actually in the woods searching. Collecting evidence.
Is he still searching?
I think he's dead.
Searching every which way.
Is he searching beyond the grave?
You would assume so.
It's like, if I can find him in life, I will find him in death.
Patty's up in heaven like, hey. And he's like, oh my God, I can see her tits now in person. They're great.
Is he searching like the government agent in that montage from Iron Giant?
There's I think these are the crooked foot tracks. These were always very interesting. It depicts a Sasquatch that has some kind of injury, theoretically. And that would obviously be bizarre to hoax.
Uh-huh. Are there any Japanese cryptids?
There's a Japanese there's a Japanese equivalent of Bigfoot. It's more of like a monkey type thing, though.
Because I've often asked my adult students, and they would have no idea.
The Kappa?
No, they do.
I guess the Kappa's the closest thing, but
they have a lot more ghost stories too, as we discussed on the last episode.
Yeah. Right. And the Kappa was mostly just a river monster. The Kappa was used as a river monster to keep people. Keep children from getting into the lake and potentially drowning themselves. It's like, don't go there because there's some mean old monster that wants to eat you.
Did it work?
I don't know. This was like hundreds of years ago.
Go back in time, Andres.
How?
I don't know. Make a time machine.
I could get LSD, but then again, I'm in Japan. They have like a zero drug law here.
Yeah, and you might end up getting some of that synthetic marijuana, and you better stay the fuck away from that shit.
Just ask one of the writers from The Simpsons to borrow their time machine. They know the future.
Man, all roads lead to The Simpsons tonight.
Yeah.
Anybody else imagining a redneck voice for this guy?
I'm imagining that for everybody. Like, one of these creatures is going to get shot one day. They're talking about this. This is another thing that's become very popular in later documentaries, is this idea that one probably would have to be shot in order to really prove that it exists. And do you guys remember that supposedly happened in like 2008? Somebody claimed that they had found a dead Bigfoot and they were bringing it back in a cooler. And then, of course, when it thawed, it turned out to be a suit.
Aww.
Yeah, it turned out to be a hoax, of course.
I mean, surely they knew they were going to get figured out.
I don't know why they even wasted their time. I think it was a private joke that somebody else made public, and they just kind of rolled with it because they were embarrassed, and then they got stuck with it. That's what it seemed like to me.
They were just trolling the world.
No, I think somebody used their joke to, like, their private joke to troll the world, and then they were stuck with it. Because they were, like, still off in the woods when it broke, so it's weird that they did that, you know? It's almost like they had second thoughts, like, by the time they actually got to civilization. Like, they dumped the real Bigfoot body halfway, and then they just decided to fake it the rest of the way.
No, he's wrong. You definitely have to kill one and bring it back to civilization, or else nobody's going to believe it.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. That's a very popular notion. And I think that...
Or capture one alive.
Yeah, well, I think it's capture one alive, get a really solid DNA sample, get, like, undisputable video evidence. Something.
Fuck that. Put it on a fucking stage and invite people to come see it. Put it in a fucking zoo.
Put its lights up on Broadway.
Right. Just keep any flash photography away from him.
Then we can domesticate them and train them to do household chores.
Until they eventually rebel against their masters once
so what
one of them
talking
begins
about now
to
is
speak.
That it would already be controversial because we don't know what their population is like and it might be endangered, so... And that it's morally wrong.
And the whole world will be a planet of big feet.
I mean, capturing one alive would be wild. They would be a creepy thing to look at in a zoo.
Oh yeah, because it looks like a person. It's like this feels wrong for some reason.
Person. Yeah, because it'd be looking like it'd be like looking at your Uncle Bob in like a glass tank. It'd be really creepy.
At first, but I think eventually you'd get used to it. Like, I'm sure there were people who said the same thing when, like, gorillas were discovered, you know?
Yeah, but they're supposedly one of the scariest things, you know, one of the scariest kind of consistencies of the sightings is people describe the humanity in the face, and that's what's really off-putting about them, is that they look like a hairy man, you know?
Right. And I'm saying that would definitely be a thing at first, but I think eventually we would get used to it.
Yeah. I don't know. That would freak me out. Especially in the eyes, you know? Like, sometimes my cats will look at me, and they seem to, like, talk to you with their eyes, and it's like, stop it.
I mean, we put actual people in cages all the time, so what's the big deal?
God, imagine if that escaped.
Criminals, the elderly, they're all in cages. Why is she talking like an insane person?
They should get on the ground. I mean, they're doing a lot of flying over. All we've seen of the Bigfoot are these Jaws POV shots. Clearly somebody saw it and liked Jaws the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is an old-ass, like, Native American woman. She's standing on fucking old-school principles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Has anyone seen that movie, Suburban Sasquatch?
No.
No, definitely not.
I'm
It's like
curious.
It's a really cheap, hilarious. It's a hilariously cheap movie that Red Letter Media covered recently on Best of the Worst. That's like a whole episode onto itself.
Sounds like a real treat.
Well, now they're talking about the fact that Bigfoot chooses his own fashion, and damned it if you try to stop him.
Some Sasquatches, they choose to cover themselves in moss. Other times it's dirt. Maybe sometimes they wear some little skunk perfume.
Other times it's a nice shawl, you know?
Listen, I just think it's really disturbing how much more revealing the Bigfoot attire has gotten since Harry and the Hendersons. You know, I think you should
It's
say.
gotten since this. I mean, we don't even see him in this. Like that's scanty, you know?
That's the best Bigfoot documentary, Harry and the Hendersons. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any.
Oh my God, guys! They found Bigfoot. He's living in the ocean. Big fin.
Big fin.
They found a fish.
You know, a fish is a very different thing from like a Sasquatch, right, guys? Guys.
They're the same thing, Andres. What are you talking about?
If we found this fish, it means big ape exists.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That everyone always points to the coelacanth as like proof that maybe a cryptid exists.
And I mean, it's not a bad thing to point to, but it's just, you know, it's not proof.
Right. And it's not really. So most of the time, unless we're talking like a sea monster, it's very, you know, it's not a lot of tangible like connection between the cryptid and the coelacanth.
Well,
you know,
it's over already?
Yeah, that's it for Bigfoot.
Oh wow, that was it. Okay, it was just it was basically like a Wikipedia article.
This 70s outro music is wonderful. You know, it's occurred to me. I've always thought it strange that at no time or not typically, if they're real, does a Sasquatch ever do like shit that like a bear would do, like just wandering into like a town and people, you know, seeing it? Because like most animals will do that from time to time.
They seem intelligent enough to avoid that on purpose, though.
Well, it has occurred to me, as far as we know, we're the last hominid species still alive. We know that there were tons of other hominids at one point, and that they were all driven to extinction, and many of them
were not as good because they were not as good as us.
Many of them probably hunted and killed by us ourselves. So it's entirely possible, to me anyway, that a species of hominid could develop a survival instinct which tells them to hide and avoid humans at any cost, you know.
Yeah, especially if they're more intelligent and living, you know, close to civilized humanity, like Bigfoot supposedly does, you know? And the relationship with Native Americans always seemed to be that way anyway. They always seem to avoid and isolate themselves from them. So, you know, if you buy into all that shit, it certainly makes sense. But we're going to be moving on to a different cryptid that has changed all kinds of stuff about its mythos since this premiere episode of In Search Of. So we're going to be moving on to the Loch Ness Monster. Do you guys have the link for Season 1, Episode 20?
Yep, and I see that they have another episode, In Search Of the Easter Island Heads. I'm like,
In search of the Easter Bunny.
in search of a call from space?
I want to get a call from space. I'd like to get a call from anybody.
It's like, you don't need to search for the Easter Islands. Megalon already explained that it's all the Seatopians.
I like that there's one called in Search of Atlantis. I just picture Leonard Nimoy going down into the depths, James Cameron style.
In search of ancient aviators.
That's people who fly old planes.
As it turns out, the Marx Brothers were plagiarists.
Of E.T. You guys have it all open and ready to go?
Oh, hey, in search of B.D. Cooper.
In Search of Amelia Earhart.
Did Leonard Nimoy find B.B. Cooper?
In search of David's tag video.
He got lost. He also got lost for that.
Oh my God, Andres! Like
yeah,
and Patrick and them, you need to get together and make a parody. Make a parody.
Braden already worked on that. Braden kind of already did a video like that. It's like, what has David been up to recently?
In search of the tag video.
Now that will forever be a mystery.
In search of David's motivation.
YouTube took it
That's
very
another,
recently.
that's another potential episode title.
In
In
search
search of Bondapalooza.
Oh, hey.
in search of basic human decency. Yeah.
In search of trust in man.
In search of my own dignity.
In search of new Super DM64 content.
In search of the videos Toho blocked on my channel.
In search of you guys having this video up and ready to go.
In search of a workable print of London After Midnight.
In search of the spider pit sequence.
You guys have lost it. All right.
In search of how long Bill will put up with this shit.
We're gonna press play in 3, 2, 1, play. So Loch Ness Monster. Let's see what the 1970s version of the general public thought of that.
Ooh, I hope they find him.
So the Loch Ness Monster again,
myths,
one that we've
lost
talked about.
civilizations, phenomena.
In search of. Who? I wonder what's long about Robert.
Series host Galvatron.
I wonder what kind of evidence for the Loch Ness Monster they're going to bring up. I wonder if they had the submarine photos at this point. That's like my favorite pictures that they've been debunked, but they still look cool.
Yeah,
Can you imagine if Leonard Nimoy did an episode of this in the character of Galvatron, in search of the Matrix?
In search of a cool new character redesign.
In search
Michael
of Bill's career.
In search of David's basement.
Michael Shannon does one.
Still
In search of...
In search of the scripts David started but never finished.
Anything dealing with me will be a complete mystery.
In search of David's lost blog.
In search of David's McDonald's receipts.
Actually, those are easy to find.
You have a closet full of them.
In search of Bruce Blanche's penis.
Hey, I know that building. Hey, I know that guy.
Hey, I know that other building.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be diving down into the depths of Loch Ness, and I'm not even going to wear scuba gear, because I'll be protected by the power of love. Peace out, homies.
Hey, I know that weird 70s soft focus.
Hey, I know that lake.
Scooby-Doo's going to be around here trying to stop a real estate scandal.
Imagine if the whole episode was, tonight we will look at the new evidence. Cut to a picture of the loch, and he just goes, there is none.
It's as cold and empty as this fucking lake is. But as we've discussed before, Loch Ness is crazy deep, even though it's not that long or wide. It's all about the depth.
Everybody forgets to mention that, and I didn't realize it until I did some research. You could fit fucking Godzilla in there. It's insane.
Oh, shit.
And it's also connected to the ocean, which is another thing people don't know.
Like, what did I read, Bill? Like, at some points, it's as deep as, like, 800 feet.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. If these kids fell in, they would not be in a good situation.
No. Godzilla could be in there.
Oh,
Oh my god, it's a... Oh.
It's the Loch Ness Man.
Local Loch Ness man.
Oh my god, there's a knock at the door.
It would be awesome if one day Nessie just decided, you know what? Fuck it. And she just started smashing boats on the surface for all the cameras to see, and she just, like, fucking went on a rampage.
That's a great idea for a kaiju movie. The Loch Ness Monster just gets tired of our shit and rises from the depths.
In search of the SOS
I always
crew.
had that idea with Bigfoot, where Bigfoot just gets a bunch of, like, people together and just goes, a bunch of other Bigfoots, and just goes, you know what? fuck this, and just riots against us.
What if the big feet? What if the big feet are actually living underground like mole people, and that's why we hardly ever see them?
That is another Bigfoot theory.
Should get the director of Thor Ragnarok to direct that Bigfoot movie.
He did a somewhat Bigfoot kind of thing with Hunt for the Wilder People.
Really?
That's like creepy Australian Bigfoot, though.
Yeah, he's super Australian. Hey, man.
You know what? Just make sure you have enough pamphlets next time. That's all I'm saying.
Is this man a Catholic priest?
You would hope so.
I suddenly feel violated. Ach, mein Gott in Himmel. Was this before this was debunked? Because if so,
Yeah. Yeah, this is before that was debunked.
that's unfortunate.
That's why we're going back to this. We're going to see how well it holds up. Some things do, some things don't. The Bigfoot one held up pretty well. This one, not so much.
Oh, there's the submarine footage.
I'm so sad that picture got debunked, though, because that was always such a great picture.
Yeah.
Like, the shape of the head was even, like, really cool.
I'm more sad about these submarine pictures. They're 10 times cooler.
Mm-hmm.
All the surface footage of the Loch Ness Monster is fucking nonsense. It's all, like, fucking logs and seals and shit. Bunch of fucking bull.
We thought we'd found the Loch Ness Monster, but it turned out to be David going for a swim.
You motherfucker.
Surrounded by McDonald's bags. That was the multiple
Empty
humps.
bags, or are they filled with something?
They're filled with garbage.
He seemed to be using the McDonald's bags as a kind of flotation device.
He couldn't afford swimmies.
Hey, I could afford swimmies.
As long as you reserve that in your heart.
He can afford Bill, as long as he doesn't want to eat that week. I mean,
Well, that's why he'll do the McDonald's bag, because he can do both.
true. It's true.
Why is this like
flotation
fucking
device.
creepy ass British man talking about angles and stuff? I don't want you talking about angles. I want you talking about when you're gonna leave.
It would be better to do it with. It would be better to do it with Taco Bell, though, because then you could propel yourself with the exhaust.
This looks like a guy who would have been like under the control of an evil alien in classic Doctor Who and would try to kill everybody. And when they get killed at the end, you know. Uh-oh, they called the cops on Nessie. Woo!
This all
It's like,
feels
bad
very classic.
monsters, bad monsters, what you gonna do?
Put your flippers high in the air where we can see them, Nessie.
Listen, we don't want to make this a racial issue, but, Nessie is, causing problems for the white folks.
We can't have that now, can we?
And that was when I saw an 800 feet tall crab from the Paleolithic era, and I asked it, I said, "What you want, Loch Ness Monster?" And it bit down and said, "I need about 350."
Great, more old British people.
Hooray.
I thought that's what you liked, Bill. Old British people from classic Doctor Who.
Well, my dick can only get so hard for the same thing so many times.
First of all, these are old Scottish people. Second of all, they're not from classic Doctor Who. Bill's fetishes are incredibly specific.
Yes. The Loch Ness Monster has never really done it for me. I like hairy men.
So hairy men over an erect, elongated creature.
Yes.
A very smooth.
Way of putting it. You're a silver-tongued devil, you know that, Dave?
Uh-huh. I've been told.
By myself.
And others.
Hey!
Is it me or does this guy look like J.K. Simmons?
He does a little bit. I just kind of want the monster to just like waddle up and snatch him, you know, Mosasaur style.
We need to find all these cryptids so that we can settle once and for all what their penises look like.
Name that cryptid penis.
And if we can eat them.
In search of monster penises.
The cryptids or the penises?
Theoretically, both. If you can eat one, you can eat the other.
I mean, I guess so, yeah. I'm sure that's a delicacy in some country.
Sasquatch penis.
Human horn is a delicacy on that one planet from Futurama. I forget the name of that planet.
I remember that, yeah.
Oh, Omicron Persei 8.
Persei 8, yeah.
So is a Bigfoot penis something that you're...
Oh my god! Oh
My favorite...
god, paintings!
This is the best evidence so far.
My favorite Futurama joke of all time came from that episode. It was when the ruler of Omicron Persei 8 was eating some jerk chicken. He was like, this jerk chicken's pretty good. I think I'll have Fry's lower horn jerked. And Bender goes, he's used to it. Woo!
Woo!
He's just gonna sit there all day and kill all his film. So, Lester, what did you do today? I literally sat on the lock for 3 hours and wasted all my film.
It was a bit like paint drying.
Except I didn't even have the paint being dry afterwards to satisfy me.
Yeah, it's a big fucking lake, too, so in order for this to be at all feasible, you would have to set up multiple cameras all along the banks to capture every square inch of it.
I mean, Nessie would just sit there at the bottom until you left. She would just wait you out.
Yeah, she's a crafty bitch.
Since when was Nessie a she? Not that I'm being sexist.
That's always been a popular conception.
I don't know why that's the conception, but
because
it is.
Nessie, that's why. Because that's just the name that people want.
So, hypothetically speaking, let's say if we lived in a world where monsters were the dominated species on this planet, and human beings were the cryptids, would they assume that Bill was a female?
I mean, would you ask yourself that question?
I mean, would they be that far off?
Because as we all know, when Bill was a man...
Yeah, when Bill was a man. Quote, when I was a man, Bill Worsford.
So the Loch Ness Monster. Are they trying to capture him in this cage? Her?
The him now?
Whichever. Maybe she switched her identity. Why are you guys presuming that she couldn't also switch her identity? You're limiting her now. That's not what we're about on the show.
Isn't it fucked up that we're assuming that Nessie identifies as a she, you know?
But she might not be anymore. That's what I'm saying.
What's even crazier is that we are actually assuming her gender.
Right. What if Nessie possesses the ability to switch genders in a same-sex environment?
Life finds a way.
Exactly. We don't know. It's not just frogs. Fish do that too sometimes, depending on the species. It definitely wasn't a whale.
Could have been Bill. He's as big as Bill.
I said it wasn't a whale.
You all should not be talking.
Y'all. There it is again, y'all.
Don't appropriate my culture by using the word y'all, Bill.
Hey, I'm allowed to use my street culture. It's fine. I'm a man of the world, like I said before.
Your street culture? Are people walking around the streets of New York saying y'all?
More often than you would think.
Interesting. I mean, why not? It's a perfect conjunction, I've always
That's
felt.
what I'm saying. It's fucking very useful, so fuck you. I'll fucking say what I want.
It's like people used to get pissed at ain't. And I'm like, ain't's in the fucking dictionary now, bitches.
Of course monsters have been seen here, too. There'd be no show if there weren't more than one Loch monster.
Monsters are real.
That ain't right.
Is that
This
Fidel Castro?
guy is so classically fucking Scottish. Look at him.
Oh
His,
my god,
his
man.
haggis is, he wears his haggis on his sleeve.
He looks like fucking Charles Manson.
He looked like any bearded guy ever.
No, but there's a certain point where your beard, like, does this man have ears? I cannot confirm that this man has ears.
Is that how hairy you like him, Bill?
No, that's not enough.
All of it. He, you know, the nose, the cheeks, the brow.
Listen, Dave, there's a very specific reason that Bill is such a fan of Planet of the Apes, and that's...
Is this tent underwater?
Yes.
Submarine tent.
It's such an incredible invention.
It's a great idea. Camp out on the bottom of Loch Ness. You'll be able to see for shit. That would be the reason to invent
You'll
an underwater.
drown.
That would be the reason to invent an underwater tent, so that you could watch all the fish go by. But Loch Ness is so fucking murky. Plus, there's radioactive sediment at the bottom, so that would fuck you up.
Get a few extra gills and shit.
Much as I'd like the Loch Ness Monster to be true, a part of me finds it hilarious that the possibility exists that at some point in history, some dude just made this shit up, and now we're spending millions of dollars searching
That's
for
what
it.
I was gonna say. Like,
Yep.
that's what I'm thinking about right now. Is how much money and effort they're putting into putting all this together. There's so much technology at stake here, and it's like, you're all doing this for the tourists, aren't you? That's the real motivation here, isn't it? Because if they stop looking for it, then that mystique goes away, right?
Right.
And it's problematic because it's just based around this lake. It's not like Bigfoot where it's an entire part of the country, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Nessie really needs to be more mobile, and I feel like this myth would be more long-standing.
That's why everyone's already forgotten about Champ and Ogo Pogo.
Yep, because they're also locked into a very small area.
It's like, any progress on finding those guys? We ain't found shit.
Barely been looking.
Do we know for a fact that river is the only way in and out of the loch? Is it possible that there's some underground cave systems that might lead back to the ocean?
That's been a long-standing theory. They also proved at one point that at one point Loch Ness was connected to the ocean, so...
Mhm.
At one point there was an idea that, like, Nessie would have evolved to live in the loch, but, you know, who knows? I wasn't there. They spend this whole thing setting up cameras and they take no pictures. I mean, I don't think Nessie's gonna come out with all these fucking people, like, swarming around either. Like, just send one guy out there. Not like 50. They got the Orca on the case, so they know that, at the very least, they've got enough barrels to bring Nessie down.
Oh my god,
That's
what's
probably
that?
what they need to do. They need to... I was going to say Billy Mays.
I don't think
Hi,
it's-
Billy Mays here with the new all-improved sonar to catch that son of a bitch Nessie. Well, wait, that's not all. Hold now, and you can get yourself 2. That's right, 2 sonars for the price of 1.
Are you tired of the Loch Ness Monster coming to you free fitty?
Well, not anymore.
One spray with Loch Ness Monster away will...
We'll put that bitch to sleep instantly.
Just like these long shots of Scottish shorelines, also sure to put you to sleep.
Hi, Billy Mays here, proposing that we kill the Loch Ness Monster by filling the loch with OxyClean.
It'll clean up that
I only say that now because I've already done it. It's a done deal.
It'll clean up that murky water in no time. It'll be clear.
Radioactive sediment will be the least of this lake's problems.
All life in the area will die.
But hey, were they even living in the first place? That's the real philosophical question here, isn't it?
And as this
Which
water
I ask every time I go to home to my unsatisfied wife.
I thought you were going to say every time I go to Home Depot.
and as the water in the lock is redistributed to the rest of the world via the water cycle, millions will get cancer.
But it's okay. We've been due for a population decrease for quite some time now. Consider that a bonus part of the gift. So order now.
Hi, Billy Mays here with another fantastic act of global terrorism.
Hey, look, it's fucking Lenin. The Russian Lenin, the one who started the party.
I was gonna say John Lennon.
Hey, how are you doing?
He's had a rough year.
Yoko really took her toll.
It's been a hard day's night. I've been working like a dog.
I just read Catcher in the Rye. It really depressed me.
I just don't think that Duck Brothers should lay eggs. Now, he looks like somebody. I can't place him though.
Bela Lugosi with a beard.
Or is that Doc Brown from Back to the Future?
I've seen Bela Lugosi with a beard. This does not look like Bela Lugosi with a beard.
It does look like Christopher Lloyd with a beard.
Kinda.
He also looks like the one guy from the first Hellboy movie who raised Hellboy himself.
Fucking Rasputin?
No.
I mean, that's who that was.
No.
Dr. Bloom something?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh! Fucking
the War
John
Doctor?
Hurt. Yeah, John Hurt.
Yeah, John
I can
Hurt,
see
yeah.
that. He's a little John Hurty. Oh, Spock is back to tell us to live long and prosper. Do you think Leonard Nimoy was down there in the lock, or do you think that he was just fucking sitting in this room full of pictures, being all smug about it?
Was Leonard
I think it was
Nimoy
special effects?
Was Leonard Nimoy partially Asian? Have you noticed the thing with his eyes?
I don't know. Potentially.
In search of the Easter Island heads. They're
Did
right.
they ever make an episode about the Flatwoods Lake Monster?
I think they kind of wrapped that all into the Yeti Bigfoot thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be another great episode of Lost Tapes. Now we will bring you the new evidence for the search for the Easter Island heads. They're on fucking Easter Island.
Oh my
Incredible.
god, we found them. What a miracle. Success. First cryptid so to do it. So that was in search of, boys. What do you guys think? What part of your feelings did it search?
There was an unfortunate lack of searching going on, I found.
Yeah, it was more of...
You are right. You are right that there was a lot of just B-roll as they were just talking and giving basic descriptions of information that is now generally known about the monsters.
It's more like, here's what we found, and now you can do the searching.
I mentioned Joe Rogan earlier. This show would be a lot better if it was done like in the style of Joe Rogan's show from Sci-Fi.
Where they go out to the gifting stump, yeah.
Yeah, or even like a River Monsters, where you imagine a show where Leonard Nimoy actually went out in search of.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he did some research later, so I give him credit for that. But yeah, it's not like Jeremy Wade on River Monsters, where he's catching sharks and shit, which would have been badass.
the sturgeon.
River Monsters is like the ultimate one of these shows where the monsters are always real.
This show made me want to go in search of the last 40 minutes of my life.
Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad. It was just kind of stale.
Exactly.
However, I think it was definitely worth watching. A nice little bit of cryptid history, and certainly a revelation for you guys being big Rod Serling fans, so this was worthwhile.
If only Leonard Nimoy had known back then what we know now, thanks to River Monsters, that the Loch Ness Monster is, in fact, a sturgeon.
Maybe at some point we should do some River Monsters. We're going to do more commentaries on these things at some points. Whenever we talk about a show as opposed to a certain cryptid, I think we'll do commentaries, so...
I got an idea for a commentary for a cryptid-related thing.
Okay.
Why don't we do a commentary on The Werewolf of Carl Place.
I knew
I
in the back
somehow
of my
knew he
head.
was gonna
it
say,
was
why do you always have to
Bill.
fucking bring things back to that? Like, just fucking, just
Dave, that is so pedestrian, okay? The much rarer creature is the elusive ghost skater.
What?
Why don't we do your movie
No,
where
no,
you did
Ghost
martial
Skater?
arts and stuff and you had red hair? Let's do
Oh,
that
you
movie.
motherfucker. Okay, those
Wait,
are out
wait.
there, but I'm not going to reveal where.
Wait, is Dave seriously unaware of Bill's...
Facebook.
Is David seriously unaware of Bill's earlier cinematic efforts, the Ghost Skater?
Wait, I'm going to look this up.
Oh, God.
Skater?
I was gonna wrap things up, you prick. I hate you. Oh. Don't look it up now. Look it up after we're done. I want to go to bed.
Ghost Skater Zazubaar. Oh, shit. This is a real thing?
You're like, what, 10 or something?
I'm not 10. Definitely not 10.
Part
No,
1, but
wait.
it's only 3 minutes long. Where's part 2?
There was
It's-
never a part.
Yeah, there never was a part 2.
In
That's
Search of
like
Ghost Skater part 2.
In Search of Lost Genesis Part 2.
Yeah.
Were you like 7 years old here, Bill?
No, I was not 7. I was in like... I was getting from 6th grade going into 7th grade.
I was 24.
It was last week.
So you were like, what?
I got held back in school a lot.
Wait, so that
This
would
is
make you
when
like,
you
what?
were a
Like,
man, Bill, right? You were a man.
When he was a man.
you're like 11 or 12 or something like that.
Somewhere around there. I had just discovered camera equipment.
Was this
How
during
old are you
your...
with this now?
Was this during your desire to be a comedian stage of life?
No, this isn't my desire to fucking go outside and force people to improv in front of a camera stage in my life.
So not much has changed.
This was literally when I first got on YouTube, so
Oh, that
it was
that
early
explains
stuff.
the poor cinematography, Bill.
Well, at least I actually made it.
To be
Oh.
continued.
We'll see.
No, I will personally finance part 2 and 3. I want a
David,
trilogy.
you can't even finance your own fucking swimmies, so don't even pretend to be able to finance my YouTube stuff.
Well, you assume I'm financing with money. I'm talking about other means.
I definitely
Well,
don't want it then.
So that might be intriguing as a thought experiment sometime, is to sit down and come up with a plausible way to reboot Ghost Skater.
No. Just there was already a Marvel character called Ghost Skater.
As an
What?
alternate universe that appeared in like one single issue.
Well, good. It's already done. It's already, everything that's said's been said.
I will push on Facebook for a Ghost Skater reboot. Hashtag Ghost Skater reboot.
Nobody will take it seriously until you do your tag video, because they're like, he's not going to finish the petition.
Oh.
Nobody will never be able to sign it. David won't even sign it.
I'll be the first one to sign it. I'm the one that's going to start it.
I don't believe you.
You're gonna
I mean,
start
not
it,
a
but you're not gonna finish it, David.
And just to give you a taste of your own medicine, I will ignore it.
Oh my god.
You are half of the Bill memes we post up.
Oh my god, Ghost Skater is a woman.
Yeah, that's in the Marvel comic. So
Bill, I want you to reboot Ghost Skater, but as an adaptation of this comic.
oh,
When Bill was a man.
indeed. Anyone else have anything else to have to fucking say?
Yes. Okay, so for the last 2 or 3 weeks, Toho has been blocking a lot of my Heisei Godzilla reviews, pretty much like all of them, with the exception of The Return of Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, and Godzilla versus Destroya, although I'm sure it's a matter of time before those 3 get taken down.
Yes.
So in the meantime, everyone who's wondering where my Heisei retrospective reviews are, I will be planning on re-uploading them, hopefully with perhaps some extra stuff there to spice it up, because I know it's just me talking over still images. I will still continue to keep them as still images, but perhaps if I can get the help of a friend, I could be able to maybe put some music over them, and just to give these reviews a little more pizzazz, and put in like the new Kaiju Noir Productions logo on them. So I do plan on doing that. Meanwhile, I am currently in the works of my Godzilla 98 review. It's been taking me a while because I've been working on the script for that while also working on a comic book that I'm working on, which is my very own giant robot, giant monster comic called Primal Warrior Draco Azul. It's pretty much if you like 70s super robot anime like Mazinger Z or Getter Robo or Force 5, hopefully you will enjoy this. And I know D-Man 1954, he will be doing a nice little news update promo video to help advertise my comic, and I sent him a bunch of material for him to show as a preview exclusively on his channel. I've shown these preview images to several of my close friends. They like it, so if you wanted to see a sneak preview of the comic itself, you can check out the upcoming video on D-Man 1954's channel. Let's see. Elsewhere on my channel, I'm also going to have an upcoming review for The Maltese Falcon, which is my first film noir review that I'll be doing with Matt Denian, the individual known for the kaiju novelist known for works such as Chimera, Scourge of the Gods, Operation Rock, Polar Yeti, and the Atomic Rex series. Let's see. And on my channel right now, you can check out the 4th annual Halloween live stream that I did with a bunch of my friends, including Dylan here, as well as the last episode of the Shoe Watch podcast, in which I interviewed John LeMay, who is a kaiju historian who has made if I can find out the name of his book, because it's a really long title. It was the Big Book of Japanese Giant Monster Movies, Volume 1, Volume 2, and a third book which covered the history of unmade lost giant monster movies. So you can check out that interview there.
All cool stuff. So go ahead and do that, and we will continue to fucking rip each other apart verbally on here. I'm very tired. I'm completely drained. Alright, so that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Sons of Serizawa podcast. Until next time, I am Bill Worcester, aka Zazubaar.
I'm Gorizard.
I'm Super DM64.
And I am Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir, the man who sets trends even if nobody follows them. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly the way it's been. What?
Apparently you set one trend that 3 people are following.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
That is only that, but that is your fault,
I'm gonna choke it.
I like to see you try, Shorty. You can't even reach my neck.
We're the same height.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
David can't lift his arms above his neck.
Fake news.
What I was gonna say was, I'm not gonna choke your neck. I'm gonna grab your hair products.
Oh, the science is definitely sound on that point.